Thanks so much.
Nick, we are so excited to learn from you today. I just met you recently, but in looking at your background, I've been impressed with this kind of two-pillar aspect of your kind of training, if you will. But being both a physician as well as a competitive strength athlete, how has this kind of dual nature of your background shaped your view on strength training as a metabolic intervention?
So the latter aspect of that, the strength training, I think as a physician has fundamentally shifted how I practice, how I see patients, how I see the entire health sphere, period. I think that, all too often we have many, many physicians across the country, around the world, who do not practice what they preach. All too often, unfortunately, we make, blanket recommendations, kind of paying lip service to lifestyle changes and lifestyle recommendations, and we're hypocritical, right? You can look at a physician or just kind of make snap judgments, which unfortunately all of us human beings are prone to making. We can make snap judgments and determine that the physician isn't partaking in those lifestyle habits themselves. So I think ultimately, strength training and what I've chosen to partake in since medical school has absolutely molded how I practice, my recommendations, everything about me as a physician.
Well, you definitely practice what you preach, and if I can look like you when I grow up, I'll be right there.
Yeah, Nick, but I really appreciate what you said, which is this idea that the moment you put little letters after someone's name,
Sure.
They start to become expert at telling someone what to do, maybe not necessarily doing it themselves.
Sure.
So let's focus on that a little more. Nick, in your experience in the context that Paul just outlined, what role does muscle play in managing metabolic problems, where you and I, of course, are very much aligned? How can muscle help with insulin resistance? How can it help control and even reduce visceral fat? Overall metabolic health, how can everyday people, not only how does the muscle help, and what can people start doing to improve their muscle mass?
Yeah, so I think obviously the first and foremost is glucose homeostasis, right? But I think even beyond that, insulin sensitization from a systemic standpoint, a whole body standpoint, the fact that lean mass, muscle tissue is approximately, 3 times more metabolically active.
Very hungry.
Right, very hungry, even at rest.
Yep.
Right, so at rest, muscle tissue on a kilogram basis expends about 13 calories per day.
Just keeping it
At rest, right? Now, obviously, if you are going beyond rest, if you're being active, if you have a very active job, you're not seated all day, now your muscle's expending even more on a daily basis from an energetic expenditure standpoint. So yeah, I think ultimately it's very useful for everybody to focus on developing lean mass. Now, I don't think that means that anybody needs to become a bodybuilder. That's never been my contention, but it is something that we need to, especially as we all get older. Dr. Seaman mentioned it earlier. All of us are susceptible to sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle, but we're also susceptible to dynapedia, the age-related loss of strength, right? So with that said, you can only really resist the coming tide of both of those and even serve to reverse them if you're making the correct lifestyle choices. Even outside of going to the gym, calisthenics. I think anybody who's followed me on social media knows that I'm not a proponent of any one type of exercise. I'm a proponent of whatever is sustainable for you over a long enough duration. Consistency is what matters. So find the type of exercise that is in the resistance training realm that you enjoy doing and do it.
Yeah, well said.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Nick. That's great. Okay, so you'd mentioned everyone doesn't need to be a bodybuilder, but talk about guys and gals who are obsessed with body composition. With that topic in mind, how do you safely combine both intermittent fasting with strength training in order to preserve or build muscle mass? Because some people will say those ideas are at odds. In your mind, how can intermittent fasting and strength training actually work together?
So I tend to think about it from a MPS and MPB, muscle protein synthesis and muscle protein breakdown. In reality, all of us throughout the day, we have a complex interplay and balance between the two. More of the recent literature that I have read has said that it's all about your protein, your total protein intake throughout the day, right? So that's what I tend to focus on.
Yeah.
How many grams, like my daily protein goal for myself is 275 grams. Everybody's going to have a different amount, right? The kind of cursory recommendation is 1 gram per pound, but it's actually a little bit more nuanced than that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's how I would answer it, right? That you can absolutely, I personally fast every day, at a minimum 12 hours, maximum 16 to 18 hours, but I'm also very, very particular on getting to a certain protein intake daily without fail.
So it would be generally, you would say that you'd have, on a typical day, 2 meals in a kind of 6-hour window. Is that a safe way of saying it, or not even?
No, I have like 4 or 5, but...
Okay, but you'd still condense it to a narrower timeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll start eating at like maybe 1, and then I'm a very strong proponent of stopping eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime as well. So I'll fit in most of my meals between 4 to 5 hours.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. In line with this body composition story, there are a lot of tools out there. Why do you emphasize tools like DEXA scans and other body composition scans, and what in fact should we be monitoring? What are the metrics we should worry about when we maintain our metabolism and work on our strength?
So this is difficult for me to answer because my undergrad was mechanical engineering. So I graduated, got my bachelor's, in mechanical engineering and then med school. So my answer to this is going to be a little bit more nuanced because I think that I love numbers, I love data, I love trend lines, right? With that said, I personally like to lean on the objective parameters, the objective measurements of progress that you just mentioned, like DEXA, right? HRV and other, even beyond that. We can also talk about in the gym. I would contend that somebody's mile time, how quickly they can run a mile, how many pounds they can deadlift, not necessarily for a 1 rep max, but for a 3 rep max or for a 5 rep max, how many reps you can get in at a specific back squat number. In my mind, these are all objective criteria, right? So it takes the power, it takes things out of the subjective range and places it purely in a realm that you can measure. Yep. Most people in this room have probably heard about this, and most engineers believe in this. But what gets measured gets managed. Yeah. That's my personal belief. And if you can't measure something and you can't put numbers to something, in my mind, I'm not saying that it's not important. Obviously, your emotions and subjective assessments are important, but objective assessments, especially when you want to consistently progress for as many years as possible throughout your life without fail, you need objective parameters.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Amen. Nick, let's get one final brief question before rapid fire. Can you tell us and share with the audience, what is the resource? I know through talking with you that you've developed a very good resource for people. Can you share us what that is and what you hope to accomplish with it? And where can people find it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I asked a number of people on my social media, what they wanted me to put together for metabolic health. And there was an overwhelming vote for a product that would basically help people holistically in a metabolic health sense, from nutrition to movement to stress management to recovery, holistically kind of give them the framework over an extended duration of time. So I put together, there's an ebook that I put together called the 12-week metabolic health calendar. And I actually did make it available for literally everybody here for free.
So tell them where they can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is www.thefittestyou.org. And at the top right, if you go to that on your desktop or an iPad, you'll see a blue button at the top right. If you go to that on a phone, you'll have to hit the 3 horizontal lines, and then you'll see a blue button that simply says Unicity. So if you tap on that Unicity button, It will take you to the page, and until Sunday, on that page that you will be taken to, if you put in Unicity as a discount code, from now until Sunday, you can download the entire ebook and the coming bonuses entirely for free. But Sunday night, we got to move quickly, download it, it's all yours, and I definitely hope it helps you guys.
Nick, let's just make sure they know that website, the Fittest You, YOU.com.
.org.
Yeah. TheFittestYou.org, and then go to the little button that says the Unicity little button, and it'll go to the book.
The top right,
Till Sunday.
absolutely.
And Nick has a guarantee that by the end of the book, you'll look just as fit as I'm kidding. Okay, Nick, let's wrap up with some rapid fire questions, okay?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. I know a lot of these gals in here are already feeling the heat the moment you came on stage. Let's keep it going. Okay.
Wait, you're not going to make a joke, a three shaved head guy?
I know. I had to change my material a little bit. Yeah. Okay, Nick, number one, what is the most underrated benefit of having more muscle? Rapid fire. You can't, most underrated.
For me, I'm never cold. A lot of people complain about being cold. I'm like never cold.
You're burning hot.
Yeah.
Nick's
I'm actually.
hot. You see, it was more true than it was joke. Okay, good. Yeah. Wonderful.
Sure.
Number one myth about resistance training that you'd like to bust.
That there is not. That it isn't something that is for everybody. I genuinely think, as I stated earlier, it is for everybody. You simply need to find the methodology, which includes resistance training, which you are biased towards. Because when you're biased towards it, it can be sustainable. You can be consistent with it over an extended duration of time.
Wonderful. I love that answer. Okay, Nick, favorite muscle building movement or exercise that everyone you think ought to be doing? I know you'd said that the best exercise is the one you'll do, but if you could get everyone to do one, what would it be?
Yeah. I think simple is, to answer this question, I think simple is best. I think the push-up is a very underrated, but when you do a correct push-up, it isn't just a chest movement. It's your legs, it's your core, it's your back, it's your chest, and I think, as long as you're focusing on virtuosity, and what I mean by virtuosity is optimal movement from a physics and a efficiency of movement economy standpoint, the push-up is an amazing movement.
Wonderful, awesome. Nick, cardio, how do you work that in? Do you do it before you're lifting or after?
After.
After.
Yeah, because lifting is from a spatial standpoint, and stereogenesis standpoint, lifting demands a lot of balance and coordination.
Yep, you don't want to go into that already.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that after
totally agree.
Monostructural exercise.
Totally agree.
Yep.
Okay, last question, Nick.
Yep.
What's your go-to tip that you'd give these good folks for staying consistent with muscle training in the midst of busy and stressful lives?
Absolutely. Community. I think all too often people underestimate the importance of community and think that there's nothing that any of us have achieved. I haven't achieved the College of Engineering, the College of Medicine by myself.
Yep.
Nothing that you love about yourself have you achieved by yourself. And we need to default also when it comes to exercise and being consistent. We need to find a community of people who practice what we practice, believe what we believe, and as such are more inclined to keep us consistent over a duration of time.
That's awesome. Well, Nick, thank you so much. This was wonderful. Thank you for your time. Everyone, please join me in thanking Nick.